Buster. Excuse me, guys, here. He's hearing some people outside or some dogs outside. But at any rate, come on into the studio for another video, and this is a subject that I'm really excited about and I'm kind of eager to talk about. And it's about accuracy or excellence. And I'm speaking specifically about sonic accuracy or sonic excellence. And what I mean by that is what you're recording. Are you getting something that's really accurate, or are you doing something that's really excellent? Now, I think there's a case for when accuracy is extremely important. Obviously, if you're recording acoustic instruments, or not so obviously, but say orchestra instruments or piano, you're going to want those instruments to be as accurate as possible. If you have a bluegrass group that comes into your studio and the guy's got a $3,000 banjo, Gibson banjo that he loves, obviously he's going to want it to sound as accurate as possible because he's really, invested a lot in his instrument and has really worked on his sound. And I think you'll have some people, some guitar players that are that way too. They really want to have a accurate recreation of their Les Paul into their Marshall stack or whatever, But I think you get the drift of what I'm talking about. But I think in a lot of modern music, and I'm using modern music with quotations, I don't think that accuracy is really that important because, for instance, our stereo soundscape or stage panorama, a lot of that time isn't really very accurate at all. It's a pseudo stereo to where we're just fictitiously putting an instrument over here and another one over here, kind of in an attempt to recreate what it might sound like on stage, or just basically maybe just for separation in a mix. And drum sets, they're a good example. Some of them, you really want some nice accurate sounds, but a lot of them are really being made to sound larger than life. So we're just wanting these monster drums, or the John Bonham drums. And so we're really just looking for something that may not necessarily be accurate, but we're looking for that excellent sound. Now, this is one thing that I think that it's really a huge aspect when you're starting to record your own original music or doing your own original recordings. And if you're in this kind of vein to where you're not necessarily needing an accurate representation of your Martin guitar, but you just want something that sounds good, I think if you put an ear towards excellence, you're going to find that your recordings are going to go a long way. And I think the big jump start to this is that it'll really push your inspiration and your creativity. Take a program like Omnisphere. I don't know if you've heard of Omnisphere, and if you haven't, I'd suggest you go ahead and listen to some of the YouTubes and such about Omnisphere. But basically, it's a software synthesizer, and it's just awesome. It's one of these keyboard type patches where you could just lay your arm on the keys and don't even have to play anything. No technique required, so to speak, or have your cat walk across it. And the program, it just sounds awesome because the patches that the creator made are just fantastic patches. You can just basically play just triads with some bass notes and something like that, and the patches will move and evolve in themselves. And so in that aspect, nothing about those patches are accurate, but they all sound excellent. And so people will take some of these patches and lay their arm across the keys, and just by hearing the sound that's coming out of these patches or the movement inspires you to create new music, to come up with melody lines or other instruments that might go with it. So think about this when you're starting to record. If it sounds good, you might want to keep it, even if it's not accurate. And so always, and remember, every video, I may not say it, but I imply it in every video, use your ears first. That's most important. So when you start to hear what you think sounds good or what's excellent, go ahead and maybe keep that track and ditch the other tracks that don't sound so excellent. And go ahead and get out the weed eater and trim some of that fat. And I think that your music it's really gonna evolve and really go to the next level. I think this is a huge tip and a great suggestion. I do it all the time because a lot of times I just really struggle trying to get an accurate representation of something, and so I really just go try to get a good sound. And one last thing I hear, and I'll let you guys go. You know, as a guitar player, I think there's really two camps in this. There's the people that when they use the modelers, they say, oh, the modelers don't sound like the real thing. So they're really going for the accuracy. And I say, go for the excellence. You get something like a Fractal Axe-Fx. You're going to get excellent sounds out of it. But if it doesn't sound like a JCM 800 Marshall stack with a 1960 slant cab, vintage cabinets with vintage Celestians and your vintage Les Paul. If it doesn't sound like that, well, so what? Because if it sounds great, that's what people want to listen to. They don't care about emulations most of the time. They want to hear something that sounds great. Well, I babbled long enough, and like I said, this is a video I really was kind of eager to talk about. I just ramble on in these videos, but I really enjoyed doing them, and hopefully I'm offering some great suggestions to you guys. So stick around, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.